My goodness, that light is horrible, isn't it? Hey folks, Nathan here. This is my channel. I'm going to turn on the light. Get a little bit better light up in here. But this is the last. Wow, that's not a whole lot better, is it? A little bit clearer, but now, boy, is my face red. This is the last of the Battlefront 2 beta live streams that I will be doing. Did one that was about 2.5 hours long on the first day that the beta was available, after the fiasco with Amazon codes and finally getting one from EA. So we're taking kind of an in-depth look at things. Then there was sort of a follow-up when I did a second live stream on the second day. And now here we are, we've reached the point where the Battlefront 2 beta is publicly available. Those who want to learn about it can actually play it as opposed to just seeing it. And at this point we have one more full day, which is tomorrow, and then the beta will end by, I believe it's noon Eastern, on Monday, October 9th, a.k.a. Columbus Day, a.k.a. Indigenous Peoples Day, a.k.a. the day that people are, off work and the post office is closed. So I just want to jump in here one last time, play a little bit, give you a sense of my final thoughts on just this whole concept here, what I expect from the game, where I see some concerns and such, and that sort of thing. Dylan, you can try. You'd have to use the join session thing if I'm already on your friends list or something, though, because actual partying up within the game doesn't work yet. You go to the group up at the top, click it, and you're actually not able to see your friends who are online to add them into your party. All you can do is join on session if somebody is on your list. And I'm not able to jump out of here to add anybody to my party or accept a party request, because that will kill the feed for those who are trying to watch. So if I'm in a session, feel free to hit join session if you're on my friends list already and see if you can get there. For what it's worth, I am going to be going through and sort of culling down the friends list of people I actually know now that the new update for PlayStation 4 and its firmware allows you to follow someone without necessarily friending them, which will help sort of separate out the viewers and the people I actually know to make it easier for you to keep track of things and for me to keep track of things as we go. So one thing that has been a bit of a concern, and I would still say it's a little bit of a concern, is the crates. We know that the distribution of the cards is not something that is set in stone yet. It even says there, important notice, crate contents and rarity distribution are intended for multiplayer beta only. So we don't know what the final cost of the crates will be in terms of credits. More than likely, if you look up in the top right corner, you'll see there are the 3 different currency markers, right? Crafting materials on the right, credits on the left, and in the center there's one that's 0. Nobody's actually seen what you can do with that within the beta. Chances are that is a currency you'll be able to buy with real money. And you'll be able to spend that, presumably, on crates with real money. And there is a sort of a, right here, a Darth_Soul on PS4. There's a question as to whether or not that is essentially a pay-to-win thing. I think as long as the different star cards, none of them provide such an advantage that it actually is a game-breaking advantage, I don't really see an issue with it. Essentially what it would be is sort of paying to get ahead, paying to unlock things faster, but not anything that's going to be a game-winning type of scenario. It's still more about your gameplay and your ability than it is about the things that you get. And Dylan, I cannot accept requests and stuff while I'm in the stream, because if I do, it kills the stream. It kills your visual of being able to see anything that's in the game. So if you're not already on the friends list, there's no way to join the session. The fact that we have crates of different types, we've got Starfighter, we've got Trooper, and Allegiance that at least at this point can be purchased. But remember, there's also daily ones. Will the daily ones be in the actual game is still a question. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully every time you log in, you'll get 1 crate for that day. That would be very nice. But thus far, don't know. There's supposed to be a Founders Crate that anyone who plays the beta will get their hands on, similar to a crate that we got for playing the beta once we then logged in for the second time. But there is some question as to exactly how the crates are going to work, to what extent microtransactions will be involved, and how what the rate will be between actual credits in game and crates versus real money and this new currency, presumably, and the crates being bought with that. So the economy of the game is still somewhat in question. But personally, I do like the fact that at least so far it doesn't seem as though if you already have something that you got from a star card that you'll get it again, unless what you're getting winds up adding a level to your cards. And you may have noticed that the different cards have the different numbers up there at the top, or the different dashes up there at the top. There are 4 different rarity values: common, uncommon, rare, and epic. You will get some epic cards if you get that Elite Trooper Deluxe Edition. You get those right off the bat. But as it seems, if you already have, let's say I already have the level 1 common version of Combat Enhancer here, it appears that if I then get that again inside a crate, that's what then bumps that up if I started with the level 1 common to a level 2 uncommon. And you notice there underneath where it gives the description, it tells you the recharge time of 30 seconds, 28, 26, 22 for faster regeneration of health. And you're able to either upgrade that by upgrading with your crafting material cache, or by getting the, presumably it looks like, getting the card again and having it bump it up a level. So at least you're not going to have a ton of unusable duplicates. But it does mean that eventually, theoretically, you could have everything. And then what? Then it's just what? Crafting materials is all that you're getting within the packages at that point? Or we're getting more as new seasons of content are added? We shall see. You can see Casima the cat back there in the background, who's about to attack another cat, apparently. Nice. All right, one other thing I wanted to point out now that I've got the stuff for it, by the way, is that when you are crafting your weapons, or when you are upgrading your weapons, first off, you are able to choose your regular weapon, or once you've unlocked it, in one form or another, a second weapon. The first weapon generally doesn't have the ability to be modified. The second one generally does. But even once you go down here and say you unlock something like Ion Shot there for 10 crafting materials, even once you've bought it and it turns white, you still must equip it so the check mark appears so it actually goes into the game. So don't just go in, unlock it, and assume that it's on your weapon. You must unlock it, then equip it. Something I ran into kind of trying to figure out what on earth was going on. So I've gone through and I've equipped stuff on all the characters. Oddly enough, so far, I've found that it isn't keeping... It's saving the things that I've equipped on some classes, but not on others from day to day, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. But whatever. Challenges. The time challenge, I am at rank 10. This is the max. I reached that on the second day. It's the maximum you could have. But time challenges right now, the 2 big time challenges for today are playing Galactic Assault and defeating 20 enemies as a reinforcement of some kind. One of the things that you spend your battle points on. So that's what we're going to try to do. We'll do at least one of each game type and then pretty much call it quits as I get a chance to give any last thoughts. I do really like and hope that they keep this in the final game, that this is sort of a context-sensitive, situation-sensitive main menu that has these videos that act as tutorials and such that you can access from here. That I think is pretty cool. Hopefully they'll keep that in the main game, and it has been changing day to day. Alright, so let's go to multiplayer, and let's go to, let's start with Strike. I haven't touched Strike in a while. Again, Blast is just team deathmatch. Heroes versus Villains is very much like the original game's Heroes versus Villains, so neither of them is included in the beta. We also have, I believe they said it was 14 planets, or over 14 planets, which, you know, means 15? But there's quite a few planets that we'll be able to play on in the base game, whereas this, of course, only gives us Tekadana, Space over Fondor, and Naboo. Alright, so we have our Heavy Trooper that I'm going to be jumping in with here. I tend to prefer the Heavy and the Specialist so far. Here we go. Notice the 100 there at the top is in blue. Now it's 99, so that represents our side. If our side gets to 0, we have lost. If our side can get the treasure, right, Luke's lightsaber basically, if we can get that from inside where that little blue bar is on the far left all the way to the little blue dot on the far right, which means we've taken it the entire, the entire span of the map, then we win. And yes, that is the night vision thing that I've turned on. I hadn't actually seen what that would look like when used. This is the first time I've ever equipped it. Whoa! You think you're cute with your little... it is kind of neat, though. It reminds me of Lando's ability in the first Battlefront, honestly. Okay, I guess nobody's up there anymore. Fantastic. All right. Cool. Notice that's your health down there at the bottom. In this case, 2 different pieces of a health bar. It slowly regenerates. The little symbol next to your health bar is your class indicator. This is kind of weird. I mean, it works well, but it's kind of jarring jumping back and forth. I wonder how jarring it is going from first person. First person to that's not too bad. Not terrible.
Reinforcements are here.
All right, let's see about... Let's try the specials.
Let's go.
Not a big fan of having this second screen that you have to go to. Not only are you winding up having to choose your character, but then once you've done that, you still have to sit there and wait on that loading screen while it tries to add people to your little group that you're going to spawn with, so that it's easier for you to wind up working with other players. That's lovely and all. They want you to work with other players, fine. But I personally find it a little bit frustrating that it means you got to go through yet another freaking loading screen. That didn't work very well.
The package is on the move. Give that trooper cover.
Like a man going commando doing a dance. The package is on the move, if you know what I mean. Ah, I can't shoot for shit with the sniper rifle in this game yet.
Package has been intercepted.
Wait, actually, do I have enough? 3,000 and 2,000, okay.
I'll cover you.
Since you gotta get kills with the reinforcement. They got a heavy on the roof. See him.
The package will have to be acquired again.
Yeah, what happens basically if there's something you're supposed to grab and carry, if you grab and carry it and drop it, after a certain amount of time, it will go back to the start. Kind of like getting the plans in the Scarif map on the original Battlefront. Ah, scheiße. I guess I do have the Stinger I could use, come to think of it.
One of our forces picked up the package.
Oh, how did that not kill him? I shot him in the face with a friggin' sniper rifle.
We can do this.
Alright, we're gonna go to heavy, but I'm gonna get rid of that night vision scope.
Reinforcements are here.
The package has been dropped.
Like, I've only seen this one won by the First Order once. But I also haven't played this one all that much. I've been focusing on Galactic Assault,
We picked up the
to
package.
be able to actually play as the heroes, if at all possible, and Starfighter Assault, so... I do like the fact that you have modes that sort of make sense for the location. So, presumably, any other strike is not going to be, hey, go get Luke's lightsaber inside the little container, because
We've dropped the package.
it's not going to make sense for that location to be where it is in the first place. As opposed to something like, you know, the droid hunt mode on the original game, where it's basically the exact same game no matter what map you're on.
Reinforcements are here.
I guess it's sort of a good thing / bad thing when it comes to the jetpack. Because in this game, the jetpack is an aerial trooper reinforcement. So basically, you can't just equip a jetpack and just go into battle with it. Which I guess is good in the sense that it doesn't wind up being that almost everybody winds up with one of their 3 slots taken up by a jetpack because it's such an important default ability that you can almost not play without it. Or you can barely play without it. But on the other hand, it also does mean that you're kind of limited to ground running and stuff like that as far as your tactical abilities go. Where'd you go? Oh, guy's back on the roof again.
The first order is 1.
The first order is 1. XZ, not sure what I can go into here. Suffice to say, not impressed. In most cases. Gorsuch, yes. Otherwise, pretty much not impressed.
Grenade ready.
But I didn't expect to be either.
No one gets close.
Shoot anywhere I was seeing red, and that didn't do me any good. How on earth am I filling them with blaster bolts in the chest, and the same class of trooper is able to shoot me less and kill me after I've already pumped their chest full of blaster bolts? And XE, I do not believe for a minute that any of the candidates in the previous election actually wanted a war with Russia. Particularly given the efforts of the State Department prior to the election. I don't see that for a minute. I don't like the lady, but I also don't believe that for a moment. Whoa! I see the guy that was shooting. Oh, no, it wasn't him. I somehow got shot by somebody who must have had to shoot through the wall to get me. Interesting. I was assuming it was the guy that was actually in the open, you know, shooting at me that got me. And yet they gave credit to the guy that there's no way he could have shot me because he was inside a wall. So either there was something up with the way that the game was showing me who shot me, or there was something up with the way that it was recognizing the attack. I think Last Jedi will turn out great. I'm looking forward to it. I've never really seen much that I know of in terms of Rian Johnson movies, but okay. Oh yeah, that guy turned into a friggin' rocket trooper.
Reinforcements are here.
Oh, come on! Fuck.
The first order is 1.
I am finding that as soon as I actually start streaming and I'm splitting my attention, I start sucking. I was doing really well on Galactic Assault yesterday. Got to be heroes multiple times, which is 5,000 battle points just to unlock them. And here I am, absolutely just sucking. I'm sucking worse than a Clintonian intern.
We are running out of opportunities. Finish the job.
Dang it. I put on a night vision for this guy, too.
Whatever you need.
We serve together.
I'm not understanding overtime. I have yet to understand why the overtime concept is there. I'm assuming it means... I'm assuming that's like, okay, so my team just ran out of reinforcements, which usually would mean we lost, but somebody's holding the item, so if they theoretically could get it back to the ship, then we would win. But then I guess it's dropped, and then overtime is over. I'm assuming that's the way that it works. It's similar to the way that some of the in-game stuff worked on modes on the original Battlefront game, but there's absolutely no explanation in-game of what the hell overtime even means. Alright. I say at least one of each, so let's go to Galactic Assault. We'll save my favorite for last. My favorite is Starfighter. Starfighter Assault. How do I think Thrawn has been in canon so far? Decent. I think his portrayal in Rebels is done fairly well, and I think the fact that they've gotten back to sort of Thrawn's roots as almost like Thrawn being sort of a Moriarty or Sherlock Holmes type of character who sees things and figures out patterns and whatnot, as opposed to him being the almost godlike, omniscient character who knows everything and can see the entire chess game from the first move and figure out things across the entire galaxy kind of crazy bullshit that they did in like Choices of One. That's good. He's actually a realistic character now instead of a demigod. The fact that they're letting Zahn come back and write a sequel to the Thrawn novel concerns me, because what happened in the Legends continuity was that every time Zahn came back with a new project for Thrawn, Thrawn got that much closer to godhood in his abilities, even if it made zero sense in terms of continuity or zero sense in terms of the way the story had to work out. He was the ultimate ghost in the machine, so to speak, because he could always figure out anything at any time in a ridiculous fashion. Like, he would have been able to tell you, based on the way the first battle of World War I went, he'd be able to tell you who was going to fly the planes into the towers on 9/11, because he was that good. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But thankfully, he is now back to a more realistic version of himself, which is good.
Landing incursion complete. Wave 2 units commence assault and activate escort.
I do not like the fact that these guys just kind of chill, and then you can't interact with them once they're activated. They do nothing. It'd be nice if you could actually interact with them. What do I think with all the directors being fired? I think if you're hired to do a job and the job has very specific parameters to it, and you decide that you're going to buck that and say, well, I'm going to do it my way because you hired me, and not actually follow the parameters of the job, you should be fired. And that seems to have been the case thus far multiple times with those directors from the Han Solo film and from Episode 9, that they were basically saying, I'm going to do it my way, screw what Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy want, and unfortunately, you work for them if they've hired you to be the director. And if you're not going to do what they're telling you needs to be done, bye, you have violated the terms of your contract. You're lucky they just fire you instead of firing you and suing you. Oh yeah, I got to do that whole reinforcements thing. I guess I could do one of those momentarily. I haven't actually tried to be the MTT before.
I'm ready to go.
The only reinforcements I think I've actually tried out for the droid army. Actually, I don't think I've tried any for the droid army, come to think of it. I think all the ones that I've tried on Galactic Assault has been the Republic side, because I was trying to play as Rey or Han. I never did get a chance to play as Boba Fett or, except in Slave 1, Boba Fett or Darth Maul, at least in Galactic Assault. If you want to try out Maul, and you haven't been able to get him for Galactic Assault, you can play as Maul in arcade mode in the beta. I almost called it the demo, and that's kind of what it is, right? It's only beta in the sense that they're trying to make sure that that the servers can handle the sheer number of people who are playing, that the modes work the way that they're supposed to, and of course that all the John Woo moments of the friggin' birds everywhere don't take up too much processing and screw up the game cycle.
Ion blast penetrating the transport.
I'm shooting your feet. Got him down some,
Roger,
but
roger.
he's not going to take much damage if you're just shooting his feet.
Shoot the
No one seems excited for the Han Solo film. I'm not. I mean, I'm excited for any Star Wars film, so in that sense, I'm like, yay, but we haven't seen enough of it for me to feel like it's going to be worthwhile. And it's just, I am so burnt out already on the new canon, focusing on the original trilogy characters, and giving them stories in which they do nothing that mean nothing. Marvel in particular is all about that at this point, it seems like. And it's annoying to me. Not going to try it yet because I don't think I'll be able to kill anybody with the Vulture Droid, because if it flies anything like the V-Wing, it's way too fast over the map to actually do you any good. That is something. Thankfully, I'm finding that a lot of the criticisms that I have about the beta, which aren't many, have tended to be ones that I've seen also on the EA forums, so I'm not alone in that, at least. A lot of people complaining about the fact that the starfighters are basically useless in this mode because they move too fast and can't go low enough to the ground, and if they barely tap their wing on anything, they're destroyed. That if they don't buff them up, there's no point in having them as reinforcements, at least on this Galactic Assault map. And again, this is another one. You know, Galactic Assault, presumably there will be multiple locations. This one, it makes sense because of the MTT trying to get to the palace. Surely the other different modes will be, or the other different maps will be like this in terms of multi-phase objectives, but surely it won't be the same objectives. I love that idea. Variety in gameplay, even amongst a gameplay type. Oh! Shot. Alright. XZ probably not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. Suffice to say that regardless of whatever side someone is on the political spectrum, frankly, it should be all about doing what's best for the country and actually maintaining the civil liberties that we have, the freedoms that we have, etc., from our principles. And when you start to throw away those principles in favor of faster, more expedient political outcomes, then you're doing it wrong. Which is something you see social justice warriors and those who despise them both doing. I tend to not be a very black and white kind of guy, mainly because I teach this stuff and follow it very closely. Rarely does anything wind up being quite as black and white as often made out to be. Where is the trooper that's been blasting me? There's one. So unless he just shot me in the feet, which I don't think happened based on where his gun was pointing, I don't see how he just shot me through my shield. But again, whatever.
Roger, roger.
I'll agree that most of the time Rand Paul does make some sense. He tends to be libertarian on some issues. On the other hand, he tends to be fairly... it's like almost any politician, right? There'll be some areas in which what they say makes sense, and other areas that don't. And in his case, as soon as you start delving into things like foreign policy, it's much more idealized than practical. A lot of the stuff that he says. Kind of in a perfect world, such and such. All right, go, 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 go! Go, 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 it's Cobra!
Targeting grenade.
MTT has reached waypoint 2.
Nice.
Further attacks
How did he
be
shoot?
intercepted.
I want to know how I'm getting... Never mind. Never mind. F it.
B1 unit activated.
It's got to be showing the wrong people killing. Which hopefully doesn't mean that the wrong people are getting the score, because that would mean there's a game-breaking glitch. But there's absolutely no way that that guy shot through 2 buildings to hit me.
Looks like trouble.
Unless he moved a lot between the time that he actually killed me and the time that it actually showed his location. Which I guess is possible, but unlikely unless Dudo is running. Well, in theory, we should be trying to improve relations with anybody, right? You don't actually want active conflict. But, I mean, the Russians... That's the best way to put it. There's yet to be any actual evidence that the Russians actually had a significant effect on, quote-unquote, stealing the election. There's never been any evidence that they actually got into polling machines or anything like that. But, there's Ray. It's very clear that they were recipients and part of the process of essentially getting the hacked, or not even hacked, the phished emails from the DNC that were leaked. So they were certainly trying, and the whole issue of all the Facebook ads that they were buying and targeting, which is now kind of where the Miller probe is. That there's no doubt that they interfered in the sense that they were trying to manipulate it, at the very least, or at least manipulating public opinion to sow chaos. There's also been, in the Mueller investigation, they've discovered targeted ads paid for by Russia, specifically designed, or sorry, not targeted ads. These were the fake Twitter and Facebook accounts under hired Russian individuals that were designed specifically to try to sow racial discord in the U.S. So there's a point at which you have to say, okay, well, we want to have good relations with this country, but there's only so much of them screwing with us that we'll be willing to put up with in the name of good relations. It's kind of like the whole thing about cooling relations with Cuba. You have cool relations with Cuba until they start treating their people better. Otherwise, you lose the leverage of being able to try to push them into treating their people better. Come on, switch the map boundaries. We're on phase 2. Come on, freaking A. There we go. You said on the mini map that it was still saying that going inside was verboten. I'm gonna have to get better at aiming for the head on this game. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that this is going to be one of those things where the variations between maps is going to be fantastic, because it seems like they are very much focused in on not just the game mode determining which type of reinforcements are available, but also the map that you're on, which is really cool. XD, yes, I have been watching Discovery. My wife and I did subscribe to, whatchamacallit, to CBS All Access in order to eventually watch it. Like, we subscribed about a week before it started, and I've been watching it on there. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I guess these abilities are interesting. Gotta kill how many as reinforcements? Is it 20? Oh! Killed 20 as reinforcements, and now I've killed 1. Fantastic. Yay. Okay.
Roger.
For some reason, I find that it's much easier to play this map or this scenario as the Republic than it is Battle Droids. And I don't know why. I mean, they should be playing exactly the same. For some reason, just mentally for me, they feel different enough, even though I don't think they really are. That it just feels like it's... I always feel like I'm at a disadvantage when I'm playing as the Battle Droid. Maybe it's because they're all skeletal looking. It's Ray! Everybody run! Now, one thing that I did notice, and another thing that I've seen as far as criticisms of it, and I would agree, is that the heroes go down way too fast. They cost way too much to go down as fast as they do. Cool abilities, but they die way faster than they should, if you're going to cost as much as they do. So they need to either lower the cost of them, or, because right now on this map, for instance, the heroes are 5,000 battle points, which is very difficult to do as the Battle Droid. It's easier to do if you're going after the M2T as the Republic. But they die very quickly relative to how they were in the previous game, by far. Okay. Let's see, so, hello, Skookum, hello, Tristan, XE, I like it, but I'm with those who are also frustrated by how completely anachronistic everything looks. how it makes absolutely no sense for Discovery to look like it does, or for even Enterprise to have looked like it did in light of the original series. But I find it intriguing that we've got the first time that there's ever really been a Trek series based on following the story of basically one character as opposed to just an ensemble cast that they kind of rotate main focus between. So we'll see. I'm not sure that in the end I'm going to feel as though it was really worth spending like $60 or whatever it was for a year of CBS All Access for a season that's less than 20 episodes. But still means that I see it before it winds up on some other streaming service, if it winds up on another streaming service. Let's see. Biggest wish or want for the game, Ray? I guess two things. One wish/want is that it seems as though this game, the way they've refined the Battlefront formula from the first game to the second, took a whole lot of the criticisms into account that people had of the first game. They listened to the fan base and made changes based on that. And for the most part, all those changes have been positive. So I guess the one wish would be that they don't just rest on their laurels with that, and that they actually keep up with that. Like, they keep listening to the community. Like, right now at the beta, people are griping about the hero issue, and a couple of other things, but especially the whole hero thing. And the length of that, the fact that you got to go through multiple screens to get back into the game once you die. Hopefully they will listen to that, and they, at some point, in a hot fix or a patch or something, will address that. But that they will keep up with what the players are looking for. They did a lot of great balance tweaks back during the days of Battlefront 1. That's another thing they could keep up with. The other big thing is I hope that they do not change the game's economy from the beta to the regular game, because they say it's going to be different, enough so that it feels like it needs to be pay to win, or that you must spend real money to get crates. Because right now it doesn't feel like that. Play a little bit each day, and you're going to be able to get enough credits to be able to open at least a crate, and at least in the beta, you're getting a crate every day. Okay, but is that going to stick around, or is it going to be, oh, well, you can get this crappy stuff in the crates, or spend real money to get more random stuff from these better crates, or crates that are faster to get, and so forth. So I want to see them keep the economy realistic in the game, realistic in terms of its... That they really do mean it's not free to play, and it's literally just a shortcut spending real money, as opposed to sort of a game-breaking thing where those who don't spend real money are at a disadvantage. That said, though, I am more than willing to spend some money on microtransactions for this game if the quality level is where the beta is, and if their consistent adding of new content is as robust as they say it's going to be. If that's the case, then I'd be willing to spend some extra money on it, just as I was willing to spend, God, I dropped $40, because my birthday was coming up and I have the money. I dropped $40 on gold capsules for Eve Valkyrie the other day. I got 50 gold capsules, mainly to get XP boost, which I got, but unfortunately... You know, I'm still nowhere near having everything you can unlock in the game. I still need 70+ helmets in the game of the customization. But that's because that game's customization seems to be less user-friendly than this one's. This one seems to be, oh, you got a duplicate, it's okay. It'll be a higher level than what you had before. Or, hey, there's all these different cards you can get, but they tend to be based on your 4 classes or your heroes, so don't worry, there's not a ton of them that you're going to have to get. Whereas in Eve Valkyrie, there is a, I believe the correct mathematical term is a shit ton. There's a shit ton of paint jobs you can get for the ships and decals you can get for all the ships. There are 13 ships, and you have to get them uniquely for each one. So like if I want the Sanguine paint job for my Strix, my long-range fighter, then if I've also got this, and I want to use that on all my other ships because I really like that paint job, that's lovely and all, except I'm going to have to get it 13 times because there are 13 ships, and it doesn't have any kind of crossover between classes. And if you do get duplicates, they'll give you a little bit of credit for them of in-game cash called silver, but not nearly enough to justify the fact that you just lost one of the slots in your capsule to this thing that you didn't need anymore. So if I was willing to do it for that and kind of get a feel for how its microtransactions work, I think I'd be okay with the ones in this, if they are reasonable. If not, no, not going to happen. But I have a much more open mind after playing the beta and seeing how the crate stuff works, and playing EVE a lot more lately, EVE Valkyrie Warzone with its microtransactions, to be a little bit more willing to deal with microtransactions of this type. As for a trailer of Last Jedi coming out this Monday, that's what the rumors say. They haven't confirmed it. There's also rumors that as soon as the Last Jedi's trailer is released on Monday, if it's released on Monday, that's also when advanced ticket sales will begin for The Last Jedi. Both of which right now are still rumor, I believe. I much prefer the X-Wing, so I'll go to the X-Wing. Why not? What is the time? I figured I'd go about an hour, so we get about 20 minutes max more, give or take. Because really this is just to get out those answer any questions and stuff, but also just get out some last thoughts. I've been particularly impressed so far, but it all comes down to how these mechanics translate into the final game. Like, the different levels. Like, I'm already at level 7 with the X-Wing. I haven't played with it very much. You unlock different card slots for most of the different upgrades at levels initially, then 5 and 10. Well, okay. Then I'm already at 7 for the X-Wing. That's some pretty fast progression, but will that speed of progression still exist in the base game, or are they going to make it an absolute slog and crawl between levels of vehicles, levels of character classes, and levels for your rank, like in this case I'm at 20, like it was in the base game, in the original game. In the original game, the grind for experience was absolutely ridiculous once you got about halfway through the ranks. So in that sense, I'm hoping for something a little more like the beta, and that this will not be a beta and switch. Yeah, I know, it's terrible, but still.
I thought they lasted longer.
Yeah, theoretically, you know. Theoretically, they're supposed to be doing advanced sales. I know last time the advanced ticket sales didn't go, or the advanced tickets didn't go on sale for The Force Awakens or Rogue One for the theater I go to until a while later than advanced sales opened other places, because they just don't sell them that far in advance for the place that I usually go. Whoa.
Good work. Our Y-Wings finished their bombing run. We'll never get through while those Imperial cruisers are still there.
As somebody said when I did the stream on day 2, it's like your ships are made of friggin' paper mache. You tap anything and you are dead. Which I guess is realistic, but kind of sucks because it's going to need a lot of time to just accidentally bumping into stuff and having to go through the load screen all over it. Or the load screens, plural, all over it. What do we have here? Oh, we got this here. Incoming missile! Woo! It would help if I actually looked at what the different abilities even are. I got a feeling this will probably wind up being my favorite mode, just like in the other Battlefront. I just got to get used to the controls. And it's unfortunate that it didn't, I tried messing around with this the other night, plugging in my Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 4, my throttle and stick, and it did not do me any good. It didn't even recognize it. So hopefully the main game will have native support for at least some HOTAS flight sticks. I'll show you the one that I'm using right before I sign on if I can think about it. Where do you think you're going? And of course, there's already people griping, man, none of the modes let you go seamlessly from the ground into a ship. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. Well, that's true. I mean, none of the modes actually let you do that, but we don't know yet if there will be any modes that at least have sort of a combined game type like what we got with the Scarif mission, for instance, or the Death Star mission in the original Battlefront. We haven't seen anything about that yet.
One cruiser down, one to go.
Inside the cockpit.
The cruisers are
The
down.
view that I really don't like,
Scanning
but
for
I've gotten more
distant
used to thanks to Eve. Or I don't even know what to call it. Should I call it Warzone? Should I call it Valkyrie? Should I call it Eve? If I say Eve, people think I may be talking about Eve Online, which I'm not. I'm talking about the spin-off that was originally for VR only. Oh crap, I don't have any repairs. This isn't a ship that has an R2 unit. I'm screwed!
That dock is heavily shielded.
Where are the shield
Target those
projectors?
generators.
Gotta get away from the Star Destroyers first. There's one there. Ah!
I'm breaking up!
I am breaking up. There we go.
A Y-Wing squadron has joined us. Cover them so they can perform a bombing run.
System's failing.
You really can't take the time to lock on your whatchamacallit. You don't really have the time to lock on your missile in time, so you basically just got to go click,
Y-Wing
click.
squadron successfully completed.
Because you can just fire it just by hitting R1 to activate it, and then hitting R1 again immediately to fire the thing. All right,
Take down
back
those shield
in.
generators.
Here's one.
Then we can go after the Star Destroyer.
Saber right.
Woo! And I do like the fact that you're getting battle points for playing the objectives, so that may actually get people to actually follow the scenarios instead of just treat every single game as basically team deathmatch in space. Ah, crap. Up and over. Ugh. Okay. And out we go.
Both blockade runners are down.
Yeah, I actually watched it the other night. I'm still one of those people who refuses to give up on 3D television at home, so I picked up the 3D Blu-ray combo pack of last night. I think the back half was better than the first half of the film, but that's not saying a whole hell of a lot. Wait, what's the other one I haven't used? I haven't really used the Y-Wing. I'll use the Y-Wing. Why not?
Generator down. Continue.
It does have an R2 repair, which is good, and it has an ion blast. It has bombs. I'm not entirely sure how the bombs work, because I've only tried out the Y-Wing, I think, one time. Going as fast as I could, and I think I ran into something, because it just said defeated. It didn't say I was shot by any particular individual. So I must have run into, like, an antenna, and again, they're made of papier-mâché, so I was destroyed. Definitely need to beef up the hull strength of your ships. And I very much hope that we will get some type of... That's the other thing, for whoever asked earlier about what are your hopes for the game. There was a foreign language publication of some kind, or website of some kind, that put up information about the game quite a while ago, and when they did, there was an icon that showed up on that site that basically was an icon that is used to denote the fact that there is VR content for the game. So you bumped into something dead. VR content coming for the game. Criterion, DICE, EA, nobody has confirmed squat as it relates to whether or not there will be any VR content for the game eventually. But boy, I hope there is. Because that has absolutely transformed my gaming. I'm playing... In fact, I play more VR games now than I play regular games, to be honest. This is one of the first non-VR game type things that I've played in a good long while. Whoa!
Eyes on the crash.
There's one thing that's I'm going to have to get used to in this game is that you really can't do what you used to do. You still die just as easily in this game as you died in the original Battlefront, but in the original Battlefront, you were basically just cannon fodder, and it was no big deal. You would die and just run back out there, so in some cases it made sense to do basically a suicide run, and then a suicide run, and then a suicide run, and a suicide run, over and over again, to do as best as you can at taking out the objective. Whereas in this one, if you look up there at the top, that blue 32 is telling us that
Enemy down.
if we don't knock out the enemies, 12% left on their shield projectors, by the time that they knock out another now 27 of our ships, we're dead. We're done. It's like the earlier Battlefront games where that is an indicator of how many reinforcements you have. Or for a more modern audience, it's similar. There we go.
Making headway.
It's similar to the way that the game that Eve Valkyrie plays with your clone reinforcements that can come in and replace you and so forth. Did I get it?
They were reckless.
Yeah, I died, but did it explode, or was that me just that exploded? Ah, we're at 4% and 21 lives. Come on! 3%. Notice there that you can see at the top 2 of the 4 shield generators. Oh, they're gone. All the shield generators are down, and you'll notice what happened. The dots representing the 4 shield generators became check marks to show that we had them. The health, the combined health of all 4 reached 0, and our 20-some-odd ships that we had left just jumped to 116, because as you successfully get from one phase to the next, if it's your objective that has to be met, you do get new reinforcements. So now, until we get further orders, we take on the TIE fighters. I'm going to cut across the axis and try and draw their fire.
Unfortunately, the Star Destroyer shields remain
I'll
up.
try spinning. That's a good trick.
Disable.
Affirmative.
Okay. Midget Toad, I'm going to have to ask what you meant by monitor radio. But Chrono Radio doesn't exist, but I mean, you can still get similar content if you're talking about just wanting to see content based on books and comics and so forth. You can get that through Star Wars Beyond the Films that I do with Mark Hurleman. And if the Patreon that I'm launching on October 17th is able to get up to $500 per month, I'm going to be bringing back From the Star Wars Library, which is another thing that's a similar style production. And I am thinking about taking some old episodes of Chrono Radio and stuff like that and kind of like slapping a image with it and sticking them up on the YouTube channel so those who've never seen them before could actually, or who've never heard them before could listen to them. But I probably have to add an intro that tells when these were made, because otherwise we're going to have people like, why are you talking about this? That doesn't make any damn sense, man. Okay, attack the reactor.
Shields offline. Now.
Where is the reactor? It says 24, okay, 23,
Lost part of the wing back
down
there.
here somewhere, going down. There it is. Interesting.
Your ship can't take much more of that.
Shields
Alright,
back up.
cool.
Concentrate fire on the power clamps.
That's kind of cool. I like that. Gonna take it. I don't know why the clamps make that much of a difference, but if you take out the clamps, you then are able to blast the. Whoa! That's the other points of interest. Okay. Where's the clamp? Where's the clamp? There's a clamp. Got one. Woo! Oh, and and as it lifted up, it smashed me. But I still got it. I got one more, it looks like, to take out. And now we can go after the reactor. Awesome. Well, that's cool. You see the effect of the, whatchamacallit, the effect of the shield going down. Go! And monitor, I can answer if you can clarify what monitor radio meant. I'm assuming that was an autocorrect or something, because I'm not sure what you're talking about. Damn it!
The shields are back online. We need to hit those clamps again.
Got it! Let's keep the pressure on.
Uh-oh, we're only down to 10. We're gonna die. I see us dying. R2, that stabilizer's broken loose again. See if it can't lock it down. Oh, we're so screwed! Defeat. Yep. You might say, well, why were you defeated? Because the number of reinforcements we had got down to 0 before we could get that other one down to 0. It's not a time-based set of modes. At least not that we're seeing in this. It's all based on number of reinforcements or reaching a certain point before reinforcements run out. Depleting the other side of reinforcements before they can deplete your side of reinforcements, stuff like that. So far. Alright, so, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that a lot of the stuff that we were concerned about the original game has been addressed. I want to see how the economy works with the crates versus the crafting materials versus credits versus real-life currency and microtransactions. I'm hoping they do something to beef up the hulls of the ships and beef up the damage that can be taken by heroes, or the cost of the heroes, as the case may be. Why did it said quit? But yeah, I do find that I think it's going to go fairly well. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there are people already griping that there's only 5 modes, but I think that the variance that we're going to see within each mode will help make up for that. Galactic different place is going to be something different than Galactic Assault on Naboo. I would like to think that the Fondor shipyard scenario will be different than the other space scenarios that we wind up getting, that each one is going to have its own feel and essentially feel like we have more modes than we actually do with the only 5 that they seem to be offering to us. I'm going to jump in, grab myself some last crate stuff. But yes, if you want to hear more about my thoughts, I'm not going to be more Starfighter or anything else, let's do Starfighter. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on the game in relation to some of the bigger questions coming out of it, feel free to check out the next episode that's coming out, I believe, on Monday, October 9th, of Cloud City Casino. Cloud City Casino is a podcast at StarWarsReport.com that I host with Michael Morris, who is one of the founders of the show, and basically talk about Star Wars gaming, and we have focused all of the upcoming episode to be released on Monday on the Battlefront 2 beta. Getting some thoughts from him, some of my thoughts, a breakdown of a lot of information from my end, a breakdown of the different things you get with the different editions that you can buy if you still haven't quite made up your mind on which edition you're going to get and that sort of thing. All of that is covered in that newest episode, again, coming on Monday, October 9th, of Cloud City Casino at StarWarsReport.com. You'll also be able to check out an upcoming episode if you're curious about, let's see, what was our newest episode about? Gosh, I'm getting myself confused. Like, it wasn't Phasma. Oh, Inferno Squad, yes. So tying into Battlefront, if you're interested in my thoughts and Mark Herleman's thoughts on Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad, the novel by Christy Golden, that's going to be the next episode that gets released of Star Wars Beyond the Films. That'll be sometime this week probably as well, also at StarWarsReport.com. And of course, my Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere, will have its 20th anniversary edition, its new edition for 2017, being released on October 17th, the same day that my Patreon will launch. You can find the timeline at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline, and you can find the Patreon when it's launched on the 17th at Patreon.com/NathanPButler, all as one word. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope that you'll get a chance to play the beta. If you haven't had a chance to play it yet, you do have until noon Eastern time on Monday to check it out, but that's not a lot of time at this point. But hopefully some of my thoughts have sort of informed yours, and you've informed mine, as the case may be. Yeah, I'm eager to check out the new game on November 17th, and when it launches, you can bet we will see the return of my Star Wars Battlefront Livestream podcast, as I called it, the video series here on YouTube, with relatively regular episodes done in this format so that we can have the chat open. Also, as I get some more PlayStation VR games, I will be doing more PlayStation VR Let's Plays, and apparently, with the new update that was just made to PS4 and to PSVR, because there was a firmware update for both, apparently now it is going to be possible to see the chat and actually interact while doing a live stream chat while in VR. I have no idea how that's going to actually work. I'm very curious how it's going to work, so we'll just have to see. But maybe we can get some interactivity going finally within those PSVR live streams, because as of before that update, there's no way to see the chat or interact at all with the chat if you were in VR. It was just a one-way stream of communication. No pun there with stream. So again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed Battlefront 2, and that you'll be back for the Battlefront Livestream podcast when it returns with the launch of Battlefront 2 in November. Thanks, everybody.